Hi, and welcome to another Scientology Outside of the Church podcast. Let's talk Scientology Outside of the Church podcast progress.
There we
This is
go.
season 12, episode 11. It's been a good five-ish weeks over the holiday hiatus, and we're back, and there is a lot happening at AOGP in the background, and everybody is about to see what we have for them. So, this podcast is going to be entitled Sunday Services, and I'm going to turn it over to Reverend Q, who came up with
Whew.
the idea for this podcast, and the Reverend is approaching the podium, and his mic is on.
Listen. I first of all want to give thanks to LRH for setting up this community, for helping us to to be here, to come together with this kind of amazing technology that is available to all of us. He said the tech is yours, the knowledge is yours. We're just reminding you of what you already know, and I'm super excited to be a ambassador of that. And as Arthur and Jonathan each take their respective stance in all of this, we're here doing such an amazing work to try to make sure that um, independent Scientology as a whole. This is for anybody listening to this podcast, no matter where you come from in the world, no matter what um, independent field, org, or whatever you decide to position yourself as a part of. These podcasts go out in order for people to hear them and to get the technology and the communication around the technology that is going to be beneficial. So I'm glad that you guys are here to listen and participate. I wanted to call this Sunday service almost kind of like a bit of with a bit of sarcasm or facetiousness. I'm not sure if it's the right word, um, because we don't really do that. Okay, this is not the Church of Scientology. I want to be very clear. This is not your local church of Scientology. This is an independent Scientology organization, third dynamic activity, in which we apply unaltered standard tech per LRH in order to get the gains that are promised. Hear my words, the gains that are promised and the regained abilities that are innate to you as a being. And one thing I know is that when you apply the tech standardly, when you apply the tech intensively, you actually get the gains promised. And the things that are supposed to happen do happen, believe it or not. And where one decides to flounder, where one decides to falter, those gains can be lost. And we don't want that for you. And so if this is a Sunday service clarion call, you know, a call to the altar, as it were, of spiritual technology, of independent Scientology technology. If this is an altar call, let that be this. I am putting out a clarion call to every independent Scientologist to please get it together. Get it together, get it in order, get right with yourself. It ain't about me. It ain't about Jonathan. It ain't about Arthur. It ain't about nobody else. This is about you. There are things that are going on in this world right now. And many of you are probably keyed into it, clued into it. Some are probably keyed in by it. But there are things that are going on in this world right now that if you have your finger on the pulse of society right now, I don't care where you live in the world, you can feel a palpable shift that is taking place. And because of that shift, or maybe in um, in a foresight kind of way. We're coming at this from a sagely kind of perspective where we knew this was coming. I was talking about this stuff back in 2013 when I said that there would be the years of shifting, shaking, and shocking. That's what I said. It the years of shifting, shaking, and shocking. And we're now in a position where we've been through the shifting, we felt the shaking, and now we've entered into the shocking. I hope you hear me. And so, with the changes that have taken place in society, you, as independent Scientologists, as those of you who are listening to this podcast, you are also being called to go through a shift. You're also being leaned upon in an affinitive way, in a loving way. You're being leaned upon to go through your own shift. You're being leaned upon to have your own shaking up of your status quo, shaking up of your mediocrity, shaking up of the things that have been, they can't be that way anymore. You know who I'm talking to. You know if it's resonating with you, you know it's about you. The things that have been cannot be anymore. The way it's been and the way it's felt, and you just making it by and just on keeping on. You know, people say you just getting through it the best way I know how. First one thing, then another. People have all these kind of little sayings, colloquial sayings, and yet you're being leaned upon by us, by people who are let's just say I got friends in high places. You got OTs and very very high functioning upstat individuals telling you there is a time such as this to make some meaningful changes in your life, world, and affairs. And this is it. And so please get it together. Please get yourself in session. Please get yourself on course. Please get yourself connected in community that really cares about you. I just talked to a lady. I put it out in the mastermind group that we're part of. I'm going to tell you about that later. I just talked to a lady who she came to me and she was going through a lot. Her body had swollen up. They had to drain, they had to literally stick needles, like horse needles, inside of her and drain 3 pounds of fluid out of her body because her body was swelling up. And it was clear to me that she was dealing with some stuff that was going on. And so finally, she got out of the hospital. She's now back at home, thank God. And then I said, well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and write up some OWs. Oh, well, what is that again exactly? We went over the OW process and we made sure she got an exact time, place, form, and event. And I said, what I want you to do is write up your OWs. I want you to send them to me. I said, there's no judgment, there's no evaluation. I'm a minister, I'm a chaplain, and I'm here to help you with this. You send them to me, you're going to get acknowledged on it, and then you're going to give me another one. And we just started working it from that. 3 days in, 3 days into this process, she was doing a very good job. 3 days into this process, she contacts me and she said, can you please call me? My vitals are tanking. That's how she said it. My vitals are tanking. So immediately I reached out to her. Hey, I just got your message. I'm calling you now. Can you talk? Yes. Okay, please call. I call her. She's trying to get this withhold off. She's going through her write up, trying to write it out. She couldn't write it out. She's trying to get it off, and I'm helping her to time, place, form, an event. Time, place, form, an event. Let's do this. She says my pressure is up. She checks her pressure. Her pressure was 199. Hear me, 199 over 111. The standard they want you to be is like 120 over 80 or whatever. It was 199 over 111. She was entering into stroke territory. I said, we got to get through this. Keep going. Anything that turns it on, we'll turn it off. Keep going. Okay, so we're working through it. She finally gets it out. She said, I'm just gonna say it. And she said it. Boom. Crying, crying, crying. I said, I got that. I understand. Just two-way comment. After we talked for maybe another 20 minutes or so, she's still crying, but she's just sniffles now. She's not wailing. And I said, do me a favor. Check your pressure again. Check your pressure again. She put the cuff on. You can hear it doing the thing. She starts the little machine. She checks her pressure. It's now 122 over 71. It went better than the 120 over 80. Okay, this one withhold. Jonathan says clearly bypass charge, right? And I'm telling you guys this little story because I want you to understand how powerful this technology is. And it only works when you work it. This is not Sunday service. This is not a hallelujah, praise the Lord spiritual practice. I'm telling you now. This is an applied spiritual philosophy, an applied spiritual philosophy, a practical spirituality that it only works when you work it. And I'm here and I'm preaching to you, I'm begging you almost to please use this up. Stop with all the excuses, stop with all the whatever else that you feel is so important, but it's killing you. I'm talking about my client. It was killing her, just sitting on the inside, body swelling up, all these body roots out, couldn't function, literally. It's killing you with all the excuses when you have something here that can really help you. This is not Sunday service. This is not where you're gonna come in and get your little feel good motivational speech, and then it's the rest of the week you just do what you want to do. No, LRH says it's an intensive. Do it intensively. Why am I not hearing from you from one week at the end to the next? Why is it 8 months go by and we don't hear from you? Why haven't you been on course on a regular basis? I know this last month we've been doing some reconstruction and some stuff like that, so ain't nobody been on course for this last month, but that's okay, baby. It's gonna be big when you get it. But I want you to understand how powerful this technology is. And if you do it the right way, if you do it the way LRH laid it out for you, it works. I'm shaking. I'm literally shaking right now with this fervor. It's a zeal. I don't know how else to call it. What else to call it? And I'm done. I'm done with my soapbox for the last 20 minutes. I'm done because I want to bring the other guys in. But I want you to understand my plea. This is Q. This is Quentin Stroud, Reverend Q, whatever y'all want to call me. This is me coming to you with this kind of message for the independent. I have other groups that are doing their thing. They go to yoga. The yoga people go to yoga every 3 times a week. They'll be at yoga. I'm not a part of that group, but I know they do. 3 times a week they go to yoga. You go to the gym 3 times, 4 times a week going to the gym. You eat every day. Put something in that mouth every day. But when it comes time to read a paragraph, oh, oh, it's arduous. It's arduous. So much work. I'm sorry if I'm pushing buttons. Maybe that's my goal here. I don't know. But I love you guys so much. And there ain't nothing you can do about that. It's my choice to love you. But this is how I'm not always the feel good friend. I'm not always that. But I'm definitely you cannot deny the workability. You cannot deny the results. And I get results. We get results in what we do. Look at the testimonials. Look at the wins. Look at the gains. People having all kinds of amazing, amazing breakthroughs. Miracles for breakfast, we call it. This is what we're doing here. So I'm going to turn the floor over to the rest of the team. And I just hope this message really hits. I hope people comment down below. Let us know what you need. Let us know that you're here. Let us know that you heard this. And let us know how we can help you going forward. Guys, I turn it over.
What do you
Well,
add to
it's
that?
well, it's one of those things where if you have a solution or solutions to a problem and you know they're there and you don't use them, the only the only the only person responsible for that, we're not going to get into shame, blame, and regret. LRH says, in the end, ultimately, there's no one to blame because blame is not what it's about. It's about personal responsibility. It's about the responsibility to be part of a community and not individuate, and commit yourself to yourself. And if you do that, you will find that these dynamics, they exchange between each other. And feeling alone and that you're not part of something, that starts with you, because individuation is what we're here trying to handle on this planet. And that individuation equals withhold. A person withholds themselves, from their ability, because they have caused harm with their ability. So they shrink back. And LRH talks about this in one of the technical bulletins, where he says, really what it comes down to is you have this Thetan that has tied themselves down, sort of like in Gulliver's Travels, and the giants tied down with lint, And your job as a being is to take responsibility for your own case and ultimately the case of others, from the fact that you've applied that technology to yourself. I wrestled with the same thing all the way up until I was OT7, and I realized it isn't just me. It was part of my OT7 success story. I didn't like people per se. I loved being an auditor, but I didn't like people. And I realized I had to do something about this. Not just for myself, but for other people. And that it was KRC, knowledge, responsibility, and control. I knew something. I needed to take responsibility. I needed to put control in and do something about it. And I started AOGP. And I didn't look back. And this is what happens, is you can't be an OT by yourself. And we're trying to help you get to OT, but it's just like what's in Jerry Maguire with Tom Cruise. Help me help you. Help me help you. It's a great scene. You can find it on YouTube and watch that. And he's trying to get the other character, played by Cuba Gooding Jr., this football player. He's trying to get him to get out of his own way. That's what we're trying to say here. Is it isn't just something you go to Sunday services on or listen to a podcast. It isn't something that you just do once a week and then you go, I'm filled up, and listen to another podcast if we're lucky enough to get 2 or 3 out with everything that we're trying to create, given everything that's going on the planet, what's going on in the world. And this isn't a knee-jerk reaction, oh my God, shock and awe. That's not what Quentin was saying. What it is we realized that we needed to step up our game, not for ourselves, but for everybody that was trusting us and entrusting us with what it is that we do, because they wouldn't be here if it weren't for the fact that they trusted us. And we don't take that responsibility lightly at all, at all. And we're doing everything we possibly can. And I can't go into the details until we release what it is that we're doing fully. We've sent out emails, we put out a video. It's taking longer than we expected, but by God, we're going to put out something out there that's never existed on this planet when it comes to Scientology and independent Scientology. LRH would be proud of what we're trying to create as a group, not just Arthur, Quentin, and myself, as a group. And the results that we're seeing from what we're applying are nothing short of amazing in the programs that we're putting in. Because if we don't respond to what's going on this planet right now, and what we're going to be faced with, whether we like it or not, that doesn't mean we have to be in agreement with it. And we're not agreeing with it. But luck favors the prepared, and applying policy and putting it in and making sure that there's an organization here with 7 divisions that gets products, gets people to get their products on their first dynamic and their second and their third through the use of admin scales, through the use of AI, through the use of LRH policy and technical bulletins. It's a lot. And we're doing this not because we want to make more money. We're not making a lot of money doing this. We're doing this because it needs to be, it has to be done, and somebody needs to do it. And that means a shoulder to shoulder effort. That's what LRH says. And he says in the end, the only question you need to ask is, what did you do to help? And that's not a make wrong. That's a fact. What did you do to help yourself? What did you do to help your wife? What did you do to help your children? What did you do to help the org, to help the other people that are struggling and trying to get somewhere, having a hard time making ends meet, having a hard time to show up, having a hard time putting food on their table, having a hard time walking, having a hard time breathing, having a hard time keeping their blood pressure down? What did you do to help? And we're answering that call. And with this podcast, what we're trying to say is that this is applicable. It is an applicable, workable, highly workable technology. And it ain't easy. We know that. You know that. And we're trying to give you a subtle reminder with as much ARC and with as much KRC as we possibly can that we're here for you. But what is needed and wanted is we need you to be there for yourself. Step up for yourself. Step up for us. We want to help you. We want you to help you. And we're doing an awful, awful, awful lot to try and put an experience here that gets you up the bridge faster, more standardly than ever before, and is literally what LRH envisioned in 1985. And he put it in policy. And now we have the means to do it. And we want to do it. But we need your help. Help you help you. Don't just listen to it, apply it. I'm done with my soapbox. Over to you, Arthur.
And all right, I want to go back to a little bit of my story leading up to this point now. So in my world, I always had an innate want or a God voice, if you will, no matter what I was facing, to always find a way to face whatever situation I was in. And my perspective has shifted in such a great way from then to where I am now. But during my journey, I was able to help a lot of people, but only individually, and I always thought to myself, like, how do I help a whole heap of people at once, as opposed to just working one-on-one? Because you've only got so much time in this life, and you only have so much time you can spend with an individual one-on-one. And I looked at a lot of many different things over the years around personal development, self-help, read so many books, tried so many different things. And some of them, had an effect. I can't say they didn't. Like, there were some great things that I've learned over the years, and some of them really helped me at particular times. But then there were elements where it just didn't go further than that. And I really struggled with that. I really struggled with, okay, I've reached this point. Why can't I go further? And so, of course, my journey of exploration just continued. I've looked at so many things over the years. I've learned so many things. I've done so many courses. I've just really put myself out there. And even today, at 48 years old, I still have a desire to do that. I'm in a much better space as an individual, as a human, as a being, as a Thetan, a way better space than I've ever been in my entire life, despite my story and how it may look from the outside. And then one day I discovered Dianetics, and then I moved into that world, and this is how I ended up in this group. And this group has the ability to do something that I was unable to do on my own, and that is to work with large numbers of people and watch profound things occur to people And, you know, like we do these podcasts where we break things down, right? But there's so much that goes on in the background that doesn't get publicly spoken about. And for good reason, because a lot of it is people's personal private stories. But if you could understand from the outside the lives that actually get changed and the profoundness that actually occurs in people's healing, where they were to where they become and continue to grow, is mind-boggling. And some of the stories are surreal. They almost sound like fantasies or something you would see in a Hollywood film. Like, behind the scenes, there is so much that goes on and there is so much time invested. On the outside, you hear our voices, you know, but to hear our voices and have the conversations we have, you know, wasn't just an innate knowing. That's come with hard work. That's come with experience. That's come with putting things to the test. That's come with applying the things we learn. And so getting to a point where you start understanding this stuff, it's mind blowing. And it's only mind blowing if you see it through. If you read it, don't apply it, could it be bothered, hoping that somebody else is going to do the work for you, you're not going to get very far, like at all, because it requires some kind of effort. Change is hard. You know, change literally means changing your environment. And at, on one hand, I really struggled with that because I couldn't fathom what change would look like. I couldn't fathom what it would be like to be without anxiety, waking up anxious every day, you know, with the things I had to face. I couldn't imagine it. And what I found scary about not being able to imagine it, it made that goal even harder to achieve because it's like, all right, how do I wake up and feel comfortable? I don't know because I haven't felt it. And it's interesting where these emotions, these feelings, these sensations that you go through on a daily basis, they become so normalized and they become so normalized in such a way that you think that is normal. And it's not until you apply yourself towards something, even the smallest thing, and then you feel that weight lift off you, and then you start to feel normal. And then you think to yourself, holy crap, I've always known this feeling, but I just wasn't feeling it. Because that normal is always there. And now an organization like this comes along, puts this stuff out there with support, with honesty and integrity in such a way that it opens the doors to so many people. And that is actually part of a goal. And to be honest, I never thought this was it. And I never thought back then, how do I target a larger audience to help so many more people? Here it is. And the amount of work that's going on in the background is pretty mind-boggling. And on top of that, to maintain our own personal lives, to maintain the help that we offer as well, it's a lot of work. It's actually a lot more work than one could imagine. And we have the ability to do that because we've broken so many barriers to be able to do that. And the same work that we did, I'm still doing, mind you, but John and Quentin have done a lot of it. And out of the three of us, I'm kind of like the baby in the group in that sense, where I'm still learning constantly, constantly growing, constantly learning, constantly applying. And to see what's going on and to be a part of what's going on in the background of what's coming is pretty impressive. And I never imagined I could be in such a position, yet here I am, and it's happening right now. And I'll tell you something, it feels so normal. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't come with the challenges because it does. You know, the amount of challenges we face all the time, but that's all they are, is challenges. The amount of meetings, the amount of times, the amount of things we do as a group to resolve things, not exacerbate, not antagonize, not ignore, but to actually create resolve, to create understanding around situations that constantly arise. And they arise because they do. They just do. And I guess the point of my story is, like, if you want things to occur in your life in a certain way, then you need to take the steps to allow that to occur. Because if you don't allow it to occur with the right persistence, the right confront, the right whatever it is according to you, then it won't happen. And I know I make it sound a lot easier than it actually is, because I do still remember the difficulty around confronting those things. But there are tools out there that work on in an incredible gradient way where you build up to it. And if you have an expectation of, okay, I'll do this, a course, and that will be the answer for my life, well, you're kind of mistaken. And it's an unrealistic expectation, because there are so many things in this world that it's almost like the lotus flower that constantly blooms and it's constantly producing. And if you put yourself in a position to constantly produce, to constantly bloom, wow, like double wow. You know, I was talking to a friend the other day, and Scientology uses this term pre-clear. Now, a lot of you that have studied Scientology and have gotten wins in such a profound way, consider how many pre-clears are actually out there. People that have no idea that they can be responsible for their own destinies. People that have no idea that they're their own creators. We are surrounded by pre-clears, and the stuff we see on the news comes from pre-clears. The stuff that we hear that really, I don't know, destroys society in a way, even though it's a part of it, and I understand it's a part of it, but it has its own destructive nature as well. They're pre-clears. They're other people just like you and I. You know, some of us have even been part of that until we chose not to. So the point of my story is there's a lot going on. There's a lot goes on in the background, and it's really up to you, only up to you, if you want to move forward or not. That's the end of my rant.
Wow. Wow. Just listening to you guys, like I was just checking my pulse, and I could literally feel the calm like swath over my body. So I love that. Thank you all for helping me in this moment, because y'all know me, I was ready to go in um, about this. I do want to say that, we meet people from all different walks of life, all different uh, psychological, physiological situations, financial situations. And there is definitely something for everyone at any level. And so if you're very new to this and you want to start off at a very low gradient and just get your toes wet just to kind of see what is this community about, um, there's an opportunity for you there. If you're already mid some courses or mid some things and you want to continue just trucking on and doing the things that you know that work for you and are good for you, keep going. There's definitely space for you here. And if you are ready to be a part of everything, and baby, when I say everything, I mean everything. Everything that we're doing, all the way up to the eighth dynamic, there's there's some big things that we're doing in private inner circles that we have going on, and there's opportunities to connect there. What I will say is that there's a difference between mythology, spirituality, and religion. Mythology, spirituality, and religion. Mythology is lore, it's traditional stories or symbols or allegories that represent different cultural norms for people. We'll say Greek mythology, or, you know, uh, um, um, Native American spirituality, or whatever. There's different ways that people connect with their own mythos. And what's true for you is true for you. Me being from Alabama, from the South, we have our own, you know, we have our own colloquial way of doing things, traditional way of doing things from the South. So your mythology is what it is. Don't let that be the only way you engage. Scientology has its own way of viewing things and its own traditional lore and its own narratives and its own stories or whatever, whatever. Don't let that be your only way of engaging through your own mythology. Well, then there's religion, and mythology can be a part of religion, right? Mythology can be a part of religion. It doesn't have to be, but religion is a organized system of beliefs and rituals and practices that are conveyed with or centered around a divine power or some kind of a way of doing things. And your own religion is your own religion. Let me be clear. And so let that be what you use to have your own organized system of beliefs. But when you get into a spirituality, which is a personal search, hear me. Spirituality is an individual's personal process. It's your personal search. It has its own meaning and its own purpose and its own significance. When you get into your own spirituality, this has to be yours. My mama used to always say, she said, baby, you got to make the truth your own. I can't do it for you. She said, you got to make the truth your own. She said it to me all the time. You got to make the truth your own. And so, your spirituality, your way of engaging the universe, the world, and the people that in your life with it, this has to be your own personal movement, right? We're here to facilitate. We're here to help you. As Jonathan said, to help us help you. We're here to be a part of this cooperative component, a cooperative component in what you're doing here. But it's not about dogma. It's not about beating you over the head with it. You come to Sunday service or else. No, this ain't Sunday service. This is your journey, and we're here to help you. And if you feel us leaning on you to move forward, if you feel us pulling on you, tugging on you to get through your courses, get through this stuff, get in session, get done with your admin scales, and do the stuff that you have to do. If you feel us tugging on you, it's only because we know that there is a peace that surpasses all understanding. Trust me, I know. There's a transcendence that you hit when you go clear, when you go OT. There's a level of experience that you might not be aware of yet, and yet it's there for you. You see, and so we're done. I don't know if there's anything else to say, but
Hallelujah. Amen.
yeah, this is yours. This is yours, and we want you to make it yours. And LRH gave it to us in a way that hopefully you can understand it or you can seek to understand it. Oh, thank you, Spirit. That's the other word. There's a difference between searching, seeking, and yearning. Searching is you looking under a rock. You're looking around. The word search comes from the word to circle. So the word comes from. To search means to circle around. Stop searching. Stop circling. God, if you hear me. Seeking, to seek means to look, right? To look. You're seeking something out. You're seeking, seek and ye shall find. There's a difference in searching and seeking. And then there's a yearning. And the yearning comes from the inside. The yearning is that intense longing for something. When you get up in the bed, when you get out of the bed in the morning, you have a yearning to feel something from this. I know when Jonathan used to have to beg me. He would say, "Q, affinitively want to get you back in session. Want to get you back on your course. Affinitively," he would say it that way. I would laugh about it. I'd be laughing at him. Affinitively want to get you back in session. Want to get you back on course. But I had to get to that yearning state, that eager. This is where it comes from the word to be eager. I had to get back to that yearning state for something that seems to be, get this, seems to be unattainable, but it's not. It seems to be that I don't know how this is gonna change. I don't think it's gonna work for me. I don't know if it's gonna work for me, y'all. We hear that all the time. We hear it all the time. I don't know if this is gonna work for me. It seems to be unattainable, but that yearning in you is getting you to reach out. That yearning for you is getting you to email us. People email us all the time. That yearning is to get you to want to do something different that seems to be unattainable, but it is. And people are going clear, people are going OT, and you can do it too. So, Jonathan, I'll let you close us out.
Well, I wanted to add, and this is very, very important, and we were talking about this in our production meeting prior to starting the podcast. And it's I'm going to try and express it in the best way that I can. And it's difficult. I find it for myself, and if I may be so bold to speak for the both of you, it's very difficult um, to be in a position where uh, people listen to our podcast. They come to us wanting services. We deliver those services, and we very, very frequently run into "don't tell me what to do," and it's an underlying theme with everyone. And LRH talks about this in countless lectures in the 1950s, where people have a button on control. We are not capital letters, 24 point, not underline, italicize, you name it, not trying to control anyone. However, by making ourselves an organization and taking the responsibility and the onus, you might need to look that up, ONUS, the responsibility that goes with holding a position, holding a line for LRH's works, for his viewpoint, through the lens of we know that what he says, if you do this, you will get this result. That's our responsibility to you, the listener, to you, the student, to you, the pre-clear or the pre-OT or the OT. That's our responsibility to you, and we're willing to stand up to it and have fingers pointed at us and be made wrong for doing what it is that you agreed to and said, I want your help. If you want that help and you trust us, you either trust us or you don't. And if you don't, that's totally fine. I get it. We get it. But if you have entrusted us and said, I believe you can help me, then you have to understand that what we are doing, what we've been trained for, all we've been through using that training, the pitfalls and the high points, we do it for a reason. And that's why you trust us. And we trust LRH, both in policy, administration, and the tech in delivering it. We know what we're doing. We know how to do it. And we're not trying to tell you what to do, but you have to trust us. And that takes a lot for some people to be able to do and front up to. And it's not that we're telling you what to do. We're trying to do what is right by you through our actions, through our programming, through our use of the information and applying it. And yes, it is difficult. It is difficult to do. Trust, betrayal, help, all of these things. But we're willing here to stand here and take it and not take it personal. But the thing is you either trust us or you don't. And you need to trust, and ultimately, the only reason you don't trust us is you don't trust yourself more often than not. Because that's what you hired us to do. That's what you hired us to do by listening to this podcast. If you've never done a service with us and you've just listened to these podcasts and you're off doing your own thing and you want to do your own thing, but you still want to have the benefits of us by listening to this podcast, to that degree, you've made a contractual agreement of trust. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast right now. And I need everybody listening to this podcast to understand this. Whether you deal with us as your organization or somebody else, this is what we've decided that we want to do and are doing through this podcast and through all of the services and everything that we've created and are creating. And believe you me, we realized we needed to burn the church down as a metaphor. And we needed to start over, and we needed to have an infrastructure. We needed to have an organization. We needed to have the skeleton, the sinew, the muscle, the skin, the perception, the ability to be able to do what it is that we need to do with everything that we face as a race and as a planet, down to the individual. And we had to reinvent it and put it there so that we could put our policy in to help you put your policy in. And that includes admin scales, helping people do admin scales, our own admin scales, and front up to everything that that meant, and front up to everything that that told us through doing those administration skills and those scales, in order to bring this podcast to you, to bring this organization to you, because independent Scientology as a whole is dying. Scientology is dying planetarily. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that is what is happening. And we recognize that, and we did an investigation using LRH's data series and developed a program to do that. And we're holding the line, and we're asking you to hold the line yourself. And all of that, don't tell me what to do. How dare you apply the tech to me that way? That's not what I want. Okay, that's fine. You can go off somewhere else and you can do whatever it is that you want to do. This isn't a threat. This isn't a pointing of the finger. We accept that. But if you want what LRH says that you can get, and believe you me, you can get it. You got to get out of your own way and be willing to let somebody control and say, this is what you need to do, and help you and assist you confront whatever it is that you're running up against that you're not able to get past, because it wouldn't be a problem if it was a problem, would it? We all face the same thing. And we're trying to do that for ourselves and deal with our own cases and everything else that comes up on our dynamics, and hold the line for LRH and put it there for ourselves and for everyone else. And all we need is for you to help yourself and realize that what we're trying to do is not make you wrong, but make you right.
Oh, I
So,
felt that. Yes.
I add to that.
Yeah.
sure.
Um, like even from my story, looking into free zone as well, like there's a lot of data that you can get around the tech as well. And like most of us, I wanted the pot of gold straight away. You know what I mean? And there's so much information out there that can lead you to that. But I do want to stress the importance of going past your own gradient as well. Like the way this system has been created, one step follows the next, which follows the next, which follows the next, which follows the next. And of course, like I do understand there's an innate want to be at the top, and potentially before you deserve it, so to speak, or before you've earned it even, you know what I mean? You can get a helicopter to the top of a mountain, or you could climb the mountain. And I think there's a part in all of us that wants the helicopter ride, wants that real cushy kind of ride just to get to the top. And I think the hard thing is so much of this technology has been put out there. And even for me to create a discipline to not look at things I shouldn't be until I'm ready to look at it, it's going to be really misunderstood, because there's so much that goes along the chain of the tech that builds up on itself. I just did the Pro TRs course not long ago, and I thought I knew about ARC. I thought I knew about communication. I thought I knew about so many things until I realized while doing that particular course, I actually did not. And that was at an appropriate gradient, because the previous communication courses I did were immediate at the time, and that was the start of my gradient. And just by going through those courses, then I was able to go to a steeper gradient. So I guess what I'm saying is like if you have an expectation of just getting this one thing done and that's the duck's guts and that's the end all be all, it's not going to happen that way, because you have to start somewhere. And the more effort you put in, the faster you'll get there. You know, the difference between practicing to climb a mountain and then making sure you've eaten the right foods, making sure you're properly hydrated, making sure your fitness is at a level where you can actually endure such a climb. You know, whereas if you look at the mountain and you think, yeah, I'll be there in an hour, you know, you'll get halfway, you'll be tired, you'll be dehydrated, you feel like you've failed. And the tech is very similar. You need to start here, and with the guidance of people that know the tech, you know, they're going to put you in the right place at where you belong. And I don't mean that in a demeaning way. It's like, if you want to get to this point, we understand what your goal is. Well, this is what you've got to do to get to that goal. You know, if you want to learn how to start confronting things, well, first you've got to learn to confront yourself before you can confront other people. You've got to learn to do all these steps that build up, and they build up fast and they build up in a profound way. And before you know it, you'll reflect and you'll be like, wow, like I actually achieved something. And you know what? You'll say to yourself, I earned that something. Now, if you have an expectation that, you know, I'll just get some auditing, that'll fix things. Sure, it'll fix some things, but it's not going to fix everything, you know, because there's still life skills that need to be applied to what you're learning.
Yes.
You know what
Yes.
I mean? Like, you still need to know how to live life. It's one thing to have heaviness taken away from you, engrams, somatics, you know, whatever your case may be. But then what? Then what? You've still got the same relationships, you've still got the same friendships, you've still got the same job, you've still got the same everything. You know what I mean? And there are so many courses alongside this technology that coincides with itself. And I'd really love to see a map, like an actual map of Scientology and all its connections to all the concepts, to all the training, to everything. And it'd look like a brain, because everything just links with everything. It's incredible. And then to put it all together, you've got to go through all those steps. It's the only way. You know, you can't just wake up and decide to be an accountant and then just be an accountant. You've got to go to school for that. You've got to learn how to do numbers. You've got to learn how to do every aspect of accounting before you can become an accountant. You know, accountants will take years before they open up their own businesses, because it took that long for them to get to the top of that mountain. And so when people are trying to help, like, I understand the frustration with getting help and not getting it soon enough, especially if you've got some stuff going on in your life. But a start is a start, and that start will certainly bring change. And in fact, it'll be a change that you never had. Even if it's small in comparison, it's still a change. And so I really employ everyone to not chase a higher gradient, you know, like, allow us to guide you to reach the higher gradients. You know, you can't just step into it and hope that one process is the duck's guts and the end all and
Yeah.
be all. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much to it. But there's a good so much to it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can learn so many things with this subject. You can learn how to run an entire business. Once you learn the confront of running your own business, you know, there's procedures there. You can learn how to communicate better with your spouse, with your friends, with your business colleagues. You know, there are so many dynamics in this that not only teach you spiritual enlightening skills without using those words, but just our natural ability, but also life skills, practical life skills that will get you further than you think. So yeah, please just be honest with yourself and approach the right gradient, you know. And that's all I have to say around that.
Yeah. Well, I love this. And I would like for Jonathan, if you would, talk to us a little bit about um, what we're building out on the technical side from an application kind of viewpoint. And I will take a moment and talk to you guys about what we're doing from communications, third dynamic viewpoint that I think is going to be really beneficial. And then we'll go ahead and close out.
Okay. Well, basically, I mentioned that we had done an evaluation on what the current situation is, both from several aspects as far as the different dynamics with what we're currently faced with on the fourth dynamic here on planet Earth, as it's called at the moment. Uh, but the end result is that uh, the planet is in a very much a danger condition at the moment. Uh, and we realized that, and we looked at our own organization, and we realized that we had to adapt. We had to do something about it. And so I sat down and went over this and really poured over everything LRH talks about on this subject, and decided that the only way to do this was to, as I said earlier, burn the church down and then rebuild a better building, a better place, a better environment, something that has everything in it. And I discovered that I had tools at our disposal, and I talked to Quentin and I talked to Arthur. And then just one day out of the blue, I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And so what we're building, and we're in the process of through the lens of policy, is you have to do an admin scale, and that admin scale includes policy. What are your goals? What are your purposes? What are your plans? What are your programs, your policy, all the way down to your statistics, and all the way down to what your valuable final products are for all of those goals that you started out with. And then in the end, you have this whole thing fleshed out. And what was needed and wanted is that there needs to be some stability. The why on the scene in Scientology as a subject on the planet and its ill repute was that there was a deviation from what LRH's intentions were. And his intentions were to save this planet and save the beings on it from which the situation that they find themselves in as best could be done, given what the tools that he had at hand. And we're looking at 40 years 40 years since LRH passed away, dropped the body, whatever you want to call it. And here we are, 40 years, almost half a century. And if we look at the situation in the corporate Church of Scientology and what the why was, and that it's been turned into what it's been turned into, it's basically a real estate acquisition firm posing as a religious philosophy. And things have been altered tremendously to the point of almost non-recognition from what they originally were. And anybody getting in the subject now would have no idea of what LRH's original intentions were. And all of his writings have been turned into uh, copyrighted intellectual property that doesn't belong to the people that say they own the intellectual property. And it keeps getting altered and altered. So I decided through the admin scale and this data series evaluation that I did both on the larger picture and in the organizational picture, that we had to build a better beast. And that's what we've been doing for weeks and weeks and weeks, and why we haven't been doing a podcast other than the fact that we usually take the month of December off, and that we had to build that better beast. And using LRH's policy and putting it into a form of computer code, which is a policy as to how a program runs, which is part of the administration scale. we are creating an entirely new platform for our organization. The old website is gone, so the new website is there. And we are every day, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, putting things into place in that code to literally take all of LRH's works, put them on a blockchain, put everything we do on a blockchain, every conversation we have on a blockchain, and put it in writing. Put every certificate, put every accomplishment, put every student point on a crypto token blockchain that we are creating and that exists right now as the solution, so that there's time, place, form, and event. Axiom, Scientology Axiom 38. And this blockchain creates an ecosystem, both financially and both a written record of everything that goes on within independent Scientology. You can not participate in it, and that's totally fine, and that's totally acceptable. But if you want to, you're going to have a record of everything that your progress and your accomplishments uh, are indelible, and they're exchangeable, both monetarily or fungible. You might want to look that word up. We're taking your spiritual progress, and it's going to reward you. It's going to reward other people. We're creating our own economy, and in so doing, we are having AI systems where you can get checked out with our own proprietary large language model like ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, using the technology so that you can go up the bridge and you get rewarded for it with our token on the Solana blockchain. Every LRH policy, every LRH technical bulletin, every LRH executive directive will be verified as accurate and put on the blockchain and indelible from this point on, so that this doesn't happen again. What's happened to the church? It's there. It has a number. Like everything you do in your bank account has a number that is associated with it, that is indelible. That is the record. It is on the ledger of this token. And we are creating an entirely new AI system where you'll have a course supervisor. That course supervisor is operating off of the tech and will help you get through your courses. It will answer questions. It will do your check sheet with you. Its name is Klaatu. And you can find more out about this on the website when we get that section put up as far as what the name is from. But Klaatu is basically LRH as your course supervisor. And eventually it will go from text to voice, and you'll be able to have a voice conversation with your course supervisor, and final checkouts and everything will be done by a human. You will have access to all of LRH's lectures, both in transcript and in audio. You'll have access, if you so choose, in the tiers that we are producing, because the higher the tier, the more access you have to all of the functionality that is on our platform. And you can actually listen to a lecture and read the transcripts in karaoke style, stop the lecture, click on the word, and look the word up. And you get a small bit or a piece of a token, and that token is registered that you look that word up. This is the fine tuning of creating a civilization where everybody wins, which was LRH's goal, both with his computer series and the Incom network, as well as everything else. And there's lots more that's going on with this. And you can stake a claim with this token, and you can invest in this token as it grows, as people go up the bridge. You get rewarded, and you can exchange that token outside of the organization, and it'll be in the non-independent Scientology field as well. The token will be used for other utilities as well outside of the organization to produce more liquidity within the token. We are quite literally creating what LRH wanted, which is a new civilization and a new economy and a new ecosystem. And we are really, really doing our very best to bring this to everyone and make this happen to where everything is validated, everything is technically accurate, everything is administratively accurate, every question is documented so that we can help you with that question, and we have it in your central file. So we have your progress and we have the answers to your questions. It's all documented and all registered. That's what we're going to have. And you'll literally get paid to go up the bridge through your own actions and the actions of others. It's never happened in
Yes.
Scientology on this planet. This is what we're building, and we're about to
For you.
release it for you, for us, for everyone that comes that doesn't know about the subject yet. This is what's coming.
And it is indeed marvelous.
Marvelous and very much 21st century, second quarter of the 21st century. And it will continue to develop and expand and increase in capability and knowledgeability. And yeah, some of the things we have cooking right now are I'm amazed at what we're doing. So
It's looking really good, really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So pardon our dust, bear with us, help us help you, help you help you. And we'll be releasing this here very, very, very soon. We want it to be right in this beta release, and then it'll be continued to be fine-tuned and polished over the next month or two. And we will have some spectacular functionality for this and for the token and for your courses, your bridge progress. You wouldn't believe what we've got working, and it's all working. We're all working on things from our different hats within AOGP on our organizing board. So I want to thank everybody that's been listening to this podcast and stuck with us to the end. And we're here for you, and we appreciate you, and we want to help you. We want to help ourselves, and we want to make this place a saner, more livable, much happier place than it is right now as much as we can. And we are building the functionality to handle tens of thousands of people in what we're doing, if not hundreds, if not millions. It has that capability and potential. So we're not taking this lightly. We're doing it right. It takes time. Bear with us. So for Quentin, Arthur, and myself, we'll see you in the next podcast. And we'll keep giving you information as we get closer to the release on this. Could be any day. Namaste, and we love you. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Bye-bye.